Everybody. Here we go. I said everybody. Yeah, you know. Wasn't talking to one person, I was talking to everybody here. Thank you for taking time out of your hot, busy May Memorial Day weekend week. So May 19th is today's date. And I'd like to call to order a joint meeting of the Norwich Public Utilities Board of Commissioners and Sewer Authority for Tuesday, May 19th, 2026. In order to run the meeting online, I'd like everyone to announce their name and title before speaking if they're joining us via WebEx. Anybody on there via WebEx?
Just one staff member.
One staff member?
That's it.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Staff member. So, we're gonna move on to agenda item number 2, which is our 15-minute public comment period. Are any members of the public here in person or online who would like to address the board? Good. I don't see anyone here, so we'll continue to move on to section number 3. Approval of the minutes. Now I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting of NPU Board and Sewer Authority meeting on Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. The motion made by Bill, seconded by Stu. Any discussions on the minutes from last meeting on April 21st? Jerry, Bob? No. Bill? Stu. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes to accept the minutes of the meeting on April 21st, 2026. Agenda item number 4, information provided before tonight's meeting. Are there any questions for Jeff or the staff on the materials that were provided in the board package last week? On the financial update, sorry. Questions?
No, I'm the leadership team.
Okay, leadership team template.
Yeah, I was wondering if, when you go looking into that CWWA on, general permit for discharge to groundwater service.
Might be able to answer your question. What was the question though?
You know, the new general permit, deep permit on hydrant, like discharge and waste flushing. We need to get it.
Oh, yes, and so that was with regards to PFAS. And because we don't have any PFAS in the system, I talked to Larry about that. He doesn't believe that applies to us, but he will keep an eye on it.
No, I think it goes beyond the PFAS. I think they'll require every time you flush a hydrant, you get an individual permit or a general permit. And that's gonna add a lot of costs.
So I think Larry can take over there was a couple of steps that we have to take before that we go to, and the idea of getting a permit every single hydrant, even in Norwich, would be, the time related to it would be crazy. Let alone Hartford, Bridgeport, and maybe somewhere else, where it's much bigger. I don't know that it's, go ahead.
So the hydrant flushing is just, it's part of the permit, you just get that, you don't need a permit for it. And the rules are really just housekeeping, we have to top it, I mean, we don't have to do anything to the permit. The
The
hydrant flushing,
new updated general permit will require an individual permit or a general
general permit.
for hydrant.
But you don't have to apply for it, it just comes as part of a utility, you don't need to get you don't need to apply for the general permit for hydrant flushing. We do need to apply for general permit for the discharge out of the deeper lagoons.
Right, but this is new, did you know
Yeah.
this is new?
Is it the draft permit, right? Yeah.
Did you see the
I
letter?
decided that to her as well.
Or in all right, because I was just wondering if, you know, NPU is a member of the CWWA, and I know that they were involved, because I was asked to review the permit, and I just thought that it might be an encumbrance for the.
Not for the hydrant part.
Please do make a comments, questions, or discussions on customer service now. Along is the promissory note by the sewer division to the electric. Any comments or questions that you might have for Jeff or the staff?
Gonna get a presentation on that, right?
Yes, yeah, that's actually, Jess is here from Golden County.
Another comment, Jeff, I was wondering, I see at the bottom of, Atlantic Lane, there's a pump, must be to increase the pressure on the water system. That pump. And I was wondering if we own that pump, is that leased?
Is it like a garden pump, like an orange
Yeah.
one? Yeah, so the reason that they put that there at the Yannick Lane pump station, and Lisa's gonna talk about the Yannick tank being offline. It's my first job when I came here, so I know this pretty well. It's triple redundancy, so without the tank, if you were to lose both pumps, you would have no fire protection in the Yannick Lane area. So we did two things. We put a garden pump there to go hydrant to hydrant to bypass the station. So, and then we've also put, a mechanic on call. So if there's any active fire, we're gonna bring them in proactively. All they do is start the pump and let it rip.
Do we own the pump?
That's right.
Would that be purchasing these?
We can take a look at that. I mean, Godwin's so good with stuff that, and then sometimes you need, I know, like an interconnection on Route 12, you potentially need a pump over there. But yeah, we can take a look at the economics. of it.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Maybe we can check. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. So any more questions on the promissory note by the sewer board and sewer division to the electric? Correct?
Yeah, we'll have that information.
Okay, so we'll move on to action item number 5, actually, which is the sign.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
and I don't see any place in here for any kind of like general comment or anything else. At some point in time, I did take a tour of the new wastewater treatment facility. I'd like to update my fellow commissioners on what I saw when I come here. That's all I'm trying.
We can either do that now, or we can do a part of other business, at the end as we can do this.
Doesn't make any difference.
Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Right, I took a tour of the wastewater treatment facility, and I have to say that I found the job site in very good condition, very safe. Everything was cleanliness. I looked at the electrical installation, what was completed. Everything was done in a good workmanship, and good manner. Tradesmen all around there, everything was done right and everything else, so whoever we got to do that job, they're doing a great job. So that's all I can say, because I looked to try to pick some stuff apart, I couldn't find it. So it's easy here. No, well, at least not the electrical. I don't know about every school washing job.
Our project manager, Matt Harass over here, has a lot to do with that too.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Very detail oriented.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was a dog and pony show set up for me, because that's how we used to do it at work, But everything was, when I asked Jeff about the same thing, he said he went the day before and everything was, so he did a nice job. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
All right, thank you for your commentary, Jerry, and I'm glad to know that we did it up to COVID with this wastewater treatment. Still, you're up next.
All right. All right, thank you, Sean. Short one this month, the CMEC board met on April 23rd. The March financials came back in line with the budget. The member residual energy cost was $59.20 per megawatt hour versus the budget of $55.21. The member power cost with member return for March was $115 per megawatt hour, which is 36% below the expected deviation to benchmark of $181 per megawatt hour. The ancillary cost we discussed the last several months was also back down in line at $3 versus the budgeted $5. You remember a couple of months ago it was $43. And apparently numerous entities objected to the new ancillary cost calculation. And ISO New England is rethinking its strategy and calculation going forward. Good for us. On the project side, the project portfolio is well below budget at minus 54%. Sunbase Fuel Cell had the largest loss for the month at minus 290K. Microgen had a so-so month at 19% below budget with a positive gain of 376K. The monthly peak hour was correctly captured on March 3rd at 7 p.m. However, 2 units tripped offline and several units ran reduced output. And I did send an email to David Meitzinger with my concerns about microgen and the units that are consistently tripping off. And he sent back a long email and said that he's going to send that off to the risk committee to decide if it's worth spending money on switchgear and other things. And luckily for us, we have a member on the risk committee, which is Jeff. Look at that. Look at that. We are covered. So I give it to you, Jeff, to figure out whether it's worth buying new switchgear and other items like emissions equipment for the microgen fleet. And the risk committee. That's all I have.
Thank you, Stu, for the update. There's something to share.
Yeah, just quickly, and again, I won't expand on it too much in public session, but one of the things, as I mentioned in the GM update, is obviously we had a significant wholesale power cost impact this winter. And I think that should be top of mind for the risk management committee, in addition to assets and other things. But just to make sure we're doing everything we can. There's things you can't control, world events, you can't control weather, you can't control things like that, but there are things within our purview. So that last week, talking about the GM's Massachusetts, there, but we're meeting with Don, Rob, and students, things like that. And so I'll just kind of keep you guys in the loop as this.
I got a quick question. Our rates are going up, and one of the things that has happened over the last 6 months or so was the hedging situation in CMAC, where that has been extraordinarily valuable for us year after year after year, but the extraordinarily cold weather threw a wrench into the hedging that they did recently, and it drove up prices on a temporary basis, but it sounds like they're back down. I mean, I guess my question is, how does CMEX performance compare to the rate increases that we're doing, and what impact will that have in the future?
So the PPA adjustments that Brent presented on last month are a direct reflection of the CMEC costs from this winter. It's a one-for-one pass-through. Now to get the city payment increases, as we recover that 6 million, about that 600,000. But outside of that, every nickel goes out to recovery purchase power. So now they forecasted for next winter to be better, but not great. So we've incorporated in our forecast those forecasts from CMEC. But I think the key is, you mentioned the hedging, and kind of made my point there, is what is the right strategy? Did we learn anything from this winter? Did we learn anything differently with regards to that strategy going into next?
Hedging is a gamble.
It is.
It's an informed gamble, but it's a gamble. And if you have a winter like we had, which was colder than anyone predicted, you're going to lose the bet.
You can't do that.
Sometimes it was bad.
Like the 10-year average, we've been ahead.
Pretty good.
So
Yes.
it's there's a couple different ways to look at it. Yeah, it's the coldest winter we've had since 1450.
And so the rate increases that we approved, are they in effect now, or are they go in effect in November? Or?
So actually, they're not rate increases. The purchase power adjustment, which you're familiar is the wholesale.
Yes.
That will be effective for billing starting June 1st. So that's energy that's consumed in the month of May and billed in June.
Okay.
Next month, we're going to be talking about, so that's just for wholesale energy.
Yeah.
Then next month, we're going to be talking about costs from running the operation. I just printed out the CPI numbers, so the raised price 5%. And, we're feeling that pressure across transport, which is 3 times what we were 5 years ago. So Marco Schmitz will be back to talk about what that means for operations of the organization and base rates. And then that's when we get into that discussion. If there were to be some adjustments, we have a public hearing over the summer, and then ultimately, traditionally, they would be implemented November 1st. We like to do a 3-year rate track to give predictability for the customers. The challenge with that right now, and I can't tell whether we're going to be able to do that or not, and Mark's going to have a very informed opinion on that, but there's so much volatility. Everything's changing so much quicker. Does it make sense to go 3 years? We're going to have all those discussions starting next week.
So the $20 increase that everybody's talking about.
So is that time, just the increases that we
Yes.
approved?
So the first, just to be as straightforward as I can be, the first 6 weeks of this year, as a result of the weather, it snowed on top of the solar, so that wasn't, it's like the perfect storm, up to $900 a megawatt hour for energy. We're losing that average $1 million. $1 million more for wholesale energy than February 16th. Weather returns to normal, everything comes back down. We use the rate stabilization funds to offset that initial loss.
So one within the NPU or?
No, we didn't see that. Didn't see that, because we need enough operating capital here we're going into summer season, we're gonna have high energy. So we're gonna recover that over 2 years. That's what Brent laid out last month, and I'd be happy to share that again. But we're gonna recover that over 2 years, and we've also taken into account projections for next winter and all that. So the $20 we're talking about is simply to go to make up for the increased cost of energy going forward and the spike in energy looking back.
So is that, will that be permanent if the prices come down, will the $20?
So
Because that's a
Again,
question.
yeah, if prices come down, then that can be reduced. And that's why we have a purchase power adjustment or a wholesale energy adjustment rather than just recovering it through rates, because of the volatility. And it goes up and down so frequently, and it's ever more frequent. That allows us to make those adjustments on a real-time basis rather than going through the entire cost of service study and rates and that sort of stuff. So the good news, energy comes down, if things resolve themselves, which we have no control over, but then that could be reduced. We went through a similar thing during COVID. We had a similar run-up, and energy prices came down, we dropped it. That's why you're seeing a big increase, because when we begin to over-recover, then we say, hey, you want to get the money back to the customer, we dropped it significantly. And then here we go again. So it's a bit of a roller coaster, but at the same time, you don't want to hold back too much, because that's much more.
And sort of the third element of all of that, which, we can't control, is weather and conditions out there. And so that if it's exceptionally cold, for example, and you're a gas user, or if you're using electric to take with heat pumps or whatever, you're going to use a lot more power regardless of what the rates are. And so your bill is going to go up from usage as well as the rate.
Well, as long as, I think, if we educate our customers about that, I think it will be good, but I think, we gotta make a major effort to communicate.
We said we can't control it. I thought we were. I thought we fly drones up there and control the weather. It's not true.
Well, we do separate the PPA and PGA on the bill from our service fee.
Correct.
So, they can see what's going up and down.
It's, for a non-industry expert, it's, trust me, my wife works at Moriarty, and she's done a lot of direct communication on this. And so I'm explaining it to her, right? And so, and Chris and his team have done a lot of outreach. It's very difficult to, Mary Lou reached out to all the large customers who has this direct conversation, but unfortunately you can't reach out to 25,000 customers one-on-one. I don't know if you want to expand on that at all, Chris.
The frustration is, the challenge is that people will live with a number of it. No one is going to go in and forensic audit on what they're dealing with. And we can say until we're blue in the face, and we do, that our rates are 15 to 20% less than Eversource. And they have been. But people don't look back 10 years over the probably tens of thousands of dollars that they've saved as a result of us, as opposed to living in Ledyard or Preston or wherever. You don't get credit for what you've done in the past. It's only about this bill and the next one. So our Facebook post reached about 20,000 people. The day did a fair enough article, luckily lumped us in with Groton. So that was helpful. That was good. It was, we'll do it on the back of the bills. Excuse me. We'll continue to do the outreach. We will take our lumps, but relatively speaking, we're still going to be in a very competitive place when compared to Eversource. That's even with, I heard that Eversource is going to reduce their bills by $35.
Correct. So if you read into that, they're securitizing a portion of their debt. And so basically they're taking and transferring it from rate base to tax base. And so that creates a reduction in the rate up front. But if you read carefully into even Eversource's PR statements on this, it's going back up in the fall. And so,
And they've also got the ability to recover $1.8 billion in storm-related costs that go way, way back. It's been back and forth through the vast majority. But that's gonna come due, and that's gonna have a huge impact on customers' bills, even if they let them do it over 10 or 15 years. That's gonna, again, play to our advantage in terms of competitiveness.
But I will say our customer service does a really good job of explaining the bill. When we do call, I have to call one time, right? My bill is ginormous, right, one time. And I think that they do a really good job of explaining and breaking it down and going over analytical history with the customer to kind of.
I mean, like the folks see a spike in their water bill because they watered their garden, kind of stuff.
Well,
Bill, there's one.
How do we make up with the spike?
I'll go back to that. I just want to just say,
Just give them my tomato.
I just want to say, I'll give you the comments that. I just want to say that I think that that's part of Chris's job is to educate our customers and provide that information on the back of the bill, but I believe that customer service plays an intricate part of that as well too. You know, in regards to just explaining on the front
It's
line
entirely separate.
what that looks like, so.
Education is a two-way street, you know, we could provide all the education in the world, people need to take it in.
Sure. I disagree, 100%, so.
But Bill, we'll give an update on that in the executive session.
Okay,
Just because it's secure.
Yeah, that's, so. All right, so with that being said, we're moving on to strategic presentations. We have several today, this afternoon. Jeff, what do you want to start at? Who do you want to start with? So we can now move it along.
So we are going to start with the promissory note for the sewer division from electric. And basically what this is in order to have working capital for construction of the sewer plant, periodically electric had to share some of their cash reserves. This is something we really try to minimize, eliminate as an operational, but because we didn't have any other source of capital, some months we had $8 million inputs. So that's a certain Dean Conley who is going to tell us all about it.
Yes, hopefully not overcomplicated because it's pretty simple.
If you have a question.
Yeah, so yes, before you read your package, you should have the resolution authorizing the execution of the promissory note from the sewer division to the electric division, as Jeff just mentioned. As you know, it's really to facilitate the high cost of the wastewater treatment plant. As you know, the project is being funded through the state of Connecticut Clean Water Fund program, and with that program is a reimbursement process, which causes some delay on, cash flow, potentially cash flow issues. So out of an abundance of caution and just to have a safety net in place, we have this promissory note in place. It's important for the sewer division to have it in place. So they have access to the cash if and when they need it. This is the third renewal. Your board has approved this same resolution 3 prior times. This is a 1-year note for $15.5 million. It's paid off every year. This particular note matures in June of 27. There's nothing different about this request than the prior request. Anybody have any questions?
Is this the sewer department paying back the electric and the electric loan sewer?
So procedurally, each year needs to be reviewed. There's no difference in year 1, year 2, or now year 3. But we had to have this in place in order for there to be a structure for electric to essentially make a short-term loan to sewer to cover invoices. Generally, that is,
Which
you sewer.
I'm reading it backwards, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got it.
Promissory note by the sewer division to the electric division.
Because the sewer division is giving the promissory note to the electric division saying, we promise we're going to pay this back. So the electric division.
Oh, that's a good question.
They didn't teach that phraseology.
Okay, all set?
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
We'll have a vote on that.
Yeah. All right, we're moving on to,
So, all right, next one, we have the PHMSA project update, and this is the gas grant, and it's exciting. We're actually coming to conclusion of our first $10 million grant. So Chris Golis is here. He's the project manager for this effort. He's going to give us an update. I'm figuring about visually.
Yeah. I don't know if it's big enough to actually see from where you're sitting, but we'll leave it up here for after. Again, Chris Molas, so just a quick overview of where we're at, where we're going over the next few years. Our plan is right now, we're on schedule to wrap up the 2022 grant by the end of June 2026 this year. We kicked the season off on April 6th, I believe was our official start date. We usually shoot for April 1st, but some call before you dig and weather issues delayed us to push back to that following Monday. But we basically kicked the season off right at the 8th Street Bridge where we left off last year, right? The goal, and we've had many hurdles to get there, is to make it to the lowest street area where that cast iron main ends. So Simone will show us a few of the hurdles that we've run up against. Again, kicking off on the 6th, and the total number of main in to this point, right around 2,400 feet. And the hurdles that we're running into, a lot we knew about, right? It's an old military highway. There's concrete under the asphalt. We know there's trolley tracks and timber in a lot of those areas. Well, little did we know the ledge that we hit bits and pieces of last year, we've been in for roughly the last 4 weeks. So we go 2 to 3 days of hole ramming in order to get our bury depth, right? We have to get to roughly 52 inches in order to get our 6 inches of sand, then a 10-inch pipe, and then maintain our 36 inches of cover, right? So 52 to 54 inches doesn't sound like a lot unless you're going through all the things that you see in these pictures. And we have proven to have some of the most rugged, stubborn stone in the area. I can't tell you how many hole rams and bits we've gone through this year, but it's numerous, more than I can count on one hand. So the neighbors have been great. We've been in constant communication. We've worked around the restaurant area, working around their closure dates, right? They're closed on Wednesdays. So we would be very careful to try to work heavy in that area on their Wednesdays or Tuesday afternoon and be out of there, work on Wednesday and come back the following week. So we make every possible adaptation to our schedule in order not to affect the customers. Hole ramming is not quiet. It is not clean. And it takes a long time. So we did everything in our power to make sure that, you know, the customers were impacted the least amount. Even if we were putting plates on the road temporarily to move traffic from one side to the other so that the businesses would have access. We have not closed the business for a period of time yet this season. It is our goal to continue in that path, right? The contractor's been very good. It's not cheap or cost effective or efficient to move equipment even 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet down the road and come back. We've made that accommodation in order to keep the customers in a good place. Again, usually you're seeing one half of the picture. Did the other picture make it in here? So this is the other half of the hurdles that we were talking about. So an abandoned 6-inch cast iron main that was right in our path, right? So you can't work around it. You have to remove it. It's not easy. It's not clean. It's not fun. And traditionally you'll see 2 hole rams going at once. The bigger machine on the bigger rock on one side, the smaller machine cleaning up on the other side. Again, that goal of trying to get to that 52, 54 inches of depth. And we have to have some width. It's not like we're cutting a V in the road. We have to make sure we keep, 6 inches of sand on all 4 sides of the pipe. So we're trying to get at least, you've got a 10-inch outside diameter, 8-inch high density polyethylene pipe. So, we have a lot of actual width at the bottom of the trench. So it's not like we're just getting to 52 at one point, and it's got to be continuous. If we get good digging, we don't want to go too deep because then we're bringing it back up. So it's been very, very slow going. The contractors have been great, bringing the right equipment and communicating with everyone. And you can see in that picture, the timber that was in there on top of the concrete. We're literally right on the trolley track line. A lot of the digging that we're doing, we're actually exposing the edges of the trolley tracks. So we can't go in either direction, either way. And we're working with the state constantly to try to maintain our sight line so that we can minimize the resurfacing at the end of the project, right? At the end of the season, after we're done getting the main into the ground, we still have to go back and resurface all of this state road. So they're working diligently with us. We have a new supervisor out there. Corey, who's been our supervisor for the last many years, was promoted. So we have a new gentleman, Caleb, who we're building a working relationship with. But they're trying to minimize the amount of asphalt we have to put back down. If we can stay in the gutter line as much as we can, they'll work with us so we don't have to do wall-to-wall paving everywhere. So the process is we dig, we backfill, we put temporary patch down. That has to sit for at least 30 days minimum. They would like to see 60. Then we have to go back and put permanent trench repair in, which is a deeper dig, more asphalt. That has to sit for 30 to 60 days. And then we come back and mill everything and we do a permanent overlay. So there's a lot of cost and time and effort and scheduling that goes along. If you were out here at all last November into December, we started a lot of mornings. We were paving in 10, 12, 15 degree weather. I was out there with them every morning to keep the rollers from freezing and everything else from actually functioning and having to turn trucks away because they stood in line for too long and we couldn't get the asphalt down before it got below its workable temperature. There are a lot of hurdles, very professional, very good to work with. Everybody's trying to work on the same page and not fracture off into this portion or that portion of the grant. So trying to keep it cohesive so that everybody's working together towards the end goal. Barry Ellison, who's not here for this presentation, asphalt is, don't ask me how or why, one of his loves. He's a PE coming over from the public works end. He was our road guy. And he still is on this project. So I have been very lucky to learn a lot from Barry on that. So he's very forthcoming on who, what, where, when, and why, and how we get there. And he makes the ultimate decision and taps me on the shoulder and tells me what to go out there and do. But we're very lucky to have that amount of expertise from the resurfacing and paving end to make sure that the project stays on budget as much as we can. We'll cover a little bit of that when we hit the upcoming years. So 2022 grant status, again, June 2026. We expect to be completed with that with the old 16-inch cast iron main purged out, left in place, capped at all ends. We're working through that purge procedure now. Julie has been working diligently because we can't leave dead legs of gas in the system. Right? We've got pieces that run under the train tracks and offshoots that we have to purge out per regulation. So we're working diligently to make sure that we make all those things happen as quickly and safely and effectively as possible. But that is our goal to get that wrapped up in June of this year. And then in the remainder of this season, we'll be working on putting the bid out for the second grant, the 2023 grant. Simultaneously, Barry's wrapping up the next grant application right now, due Thursday. Due Friday, wrapped up on Thursday, due Friday. So we've got another grant application out there. From what we've heard from PHMSA and the people that Barry and Chris are working directly with, that a lot of the bigger municipalities have already met their maximum amount that's allowed by the federal funding. So we may have a little less competition, even though we put out fabulous grant packages, very competitive. Obviously, we won the first two. We were in line to win the third, but they wanted to make sure they spread the money out to all the municipalities. But we'll be putting another grant application in at the end of the week. I will tell you, Barry and I were texting last night at 7 o'clock at night as he was leaving to let me know that my tractor trailer for a CNG project had showed up and he was going home for the day. So a lot of long days and hard work put into this, and Chris taking into the legislative group to get all of our.
We just got an email. Murphy Blumenthal, Courtney's office should have a letter of support to us, hopefully late today or tomorrow, to include with our package. And we put a letter together for the mayor to submit with our package as well. They were very responsive, everybody on the same.
As well as the support from Pure. We got that out earlier in the week and they responded. So our regulatory commission is very supportive of everything that we do here. And we try to keep it that way, right? We work very hard on our regulatory responses and the guys in the fields working safely and responsibly so that, you know, we can get these clean bills of health. I know the last time I was here, I let you know that we got the first ever LNG clean audit in the history of Pure. They've never issued a clean audit, 100% clean audit, zero violations, zero expectations, right? Never in their history have they done that. They brought that to the last quarterly LDC meeting and announce that in front of all of the other gas companies in Connecticut that are there. So round of applause and long faces at the same time. So now they're held to our standard, which we always want that to be the case. So the 2023 hopefully wrapped up, out to bid, kickoff April 1 is always our goal line to get started, right? That's when we want to start our season off, usually right around the asphalt plants opening up, right? That's always our goal. We need hot asphalt when we're doing permanent temporary trench repair. So we always want to kind of kick that off right around that April 1st and wrap up when the plants are closing down by, that Thanksgiving timeframe. We worked as late as Christmas last year. So a little bit of the math, and again, it's probably going to be hard for you to see. But we did a little bit of color coding, what we covered in the 2022 grant. What happened in 2022, 23 action, 2026 will be wrapped up this year, 2027, which is in green, and again, I took a couple of notes just for like reference points for all of us to go by. So we'll, in the 2027 grant, start off somewhere in the Norwich Avenue area of Lorenzo and go up to Norwich Avenue somewhere around number 186 to 10 area. So that's kind of where that cast iron main ends. And then Hunters Road up to Manacle Avenue. So the bottom of Hunters up to Manacle Avenue would be our next chunk. And then Hunters Ave all the way up into Taffel up in the Merchants Avenue area. So we'll be pushing, that will be the first big push, as well as one small piece on East Main Street, which ends right around the Hamilton Avenue area. So that's the goal for 2027. And then we get into 2028, which is going to be probably, even though concrete and asphalt and rock has really slowed our process down, our most challenging portion of all these grants will be the Laurel Hill area. It's very tight, it's very congested. There's a lot of school and bus traffic. It is straight through to the casino, workers at EV, it's narrow. So that's going to entail Tolman, Spruce, Center, and Laurel Hill. It is going to be a very delicate process. A lot of those houses are extremely elevated and are going to be tough to access for the service portion of it. So probably the main with the traffic will be, very cumbersome, but then actually getting the new gas services to a house that's 50 feet in elevation higher than the road. When you turn on the Laurel Hill at the bottom side, as well as the Tolman and Spruce side, we're gonna have a lot of elevation challenges, but I'm sure our team will put together a solid path and get there. A lot of the stuff in blue and the pink at the end, the end of the 2028, 2029 stuff, unfortunately, may fall off the ability for us to do it in the 2023 grant. It is included in the latest grant package going out. So we've been working with PHMSA. We had a little bit of a shortcoming in the 2022 funding in order to get all the resurfacing done. So we borrowed ahead from the 2023, and we explained to them that we'd include the roads that we had to drop off in order to stay on budget and not impact the utility itself. So the West Town Street area, like little piece on Shipping Street, will be included in this package that's going out on Friday.
The amazing thing with this, two grants of $10 million each, we go about 10 for the third one. It's $30 million coming in from outside the community. This is transformation. I said this many times, but it's worth saying again. It's transformation for the gas division, keeping rates competitive, getting rid of our most leak prone pipe, not highly leak prone, but most of what we have, the environmental benefits means moving all the way around. You can tell the passion Chris and the team have for gas in general in this particular project. So it's a huge home run.
It'll make a huge impact on the underground utility group as well. Our 4 or 5 leaks that we chased all winter this year here on North Main Street were on that, nearly 100-year-old cast iron main that we hope to, if we had time, get that abandoned, at least a big portion of it, right? We have a new DR station out there in order to support all this stuff. But there was a lot of long, hard days out there in the cold winter, purging gas out of the street that was, leaking from an old cast iron main. That's what it's prone to do. So those guys will be happy to have those long hours go away, and we can focus on the work we have going forward. Questions, anyone? Go right ahead.
Not a question, more of a thank you. Who's doing your traffic control on that over on the 8th Street Bridge heading towards where Central Ave meets up there.
Yep.
Who's doing the traffic?
So our PM out there is Bill Dewey,
Okay.
retired underground construction.
I want you to pass along,
Mhm.
thank you for the professionalism that they extended me, riding in clip pedals on my bicycle.
Mhm.
He looked out for me. I went on Central Avenue, went around this job site.
Yeah.
And when I popped out over where it meets up there, the guy waved me through because he was looking out for me.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much.
They are true blue, so most of them are retired, police officers or corrections officers.
Yep.
Very well trained, very good at communicating. They set a light sign on, a sight line up every single day, which is blessed by Caleb from the state. And to ensure that we keep track, we're not allowed to shut down State Road, right? We cannot detour you around. So it is very cumbersome for us every single day to make sure we choose our paths for that day and how far we're gonna go, to make sure we're doing that.
Not just you, I figure out your pass, around your pass.
So, yeah, there you go. You shouldn't have to do that. We should be able to accommodate you.
No, but that's just the way I was going. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're very, very
Like I said,
professional.
just, thank you so much.
When I go out there tomorrow morning, I will definitely relay that ahead. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Rich. All right, so next, this brings us in with a month of anticipation, because we didn't get to it last month, but Matt Haras is going to talk about the wastewater treatment plant.
Good afternoon, board. Just a quick overview. I think Jeremiah had thrown out a couple of days after the April board meeting, so this photo is a little dated, but it gives you a nice overview of the entire campus, kind of looking north to south, left to right. And then we can dig into some other things. So as Jerry can attest, the digester complex is completely demolished. No longer there. Contractor wrapping up backfilling of the largest digester A that's kind of at the end of the bus turnaround. So that makes way for that one. Just like in the foreground there is the building of the construction is a new lab at the plant. So the one remaining building will be a new vehicle garage for plug system plant vehicles. But it's yet to start, but you can see how wide the campus is now. Again, one slide, Simone. Our new headworks facility has broken ground. Piles were installed for months through the winter. But this facility will house all the preliminary treatment processes for the plant. So, very much needed. Going to make the operators' lives much better. So from north to south, we'll have, of course, fine screening and series of earth removal, and then some lift pumps to bring the flow up to our primary tanks. The shot's taken from actually just standing on the roof of the thickened sludge storage facility that we commissioned last October. One slide. So the new main electrical complex for the plant is also under construction. It's really probably hard to discern what's going on here, but essentially, Horton, the electrical contractor, and Nickerson are actively putting in a lot of duct bank. Our mining department is also working in parallel to bring in new extending Circuit 512 underground through Falls Avenue, and hopefully this summer we'll be setting a new utility transformer, new switch gear, which will distribute power to the whole campus. And off to the right, you can see some of the initial electrical manifolds that have been installed and duct bank, splaying out to a variety of locations. Next slide. And just as a quick update, interior of our lab building, we're starting to get sheetrock up inside the building, so all the rough-ins are complete. Again, we're still looking at probably a move-in date, hopefully next summer, if I had to guess, but we'll continue sitting in our trailers until then. And the lab staff will continue sitting in their existing lab space until then. And then one more slide, the admin is sort of a little behind the lab for a variety of reasons we talked about over the past 2 years, but that framing is starting to go up now, and HVAC plumbing contractor with respect to having hangers for utilities for the building. But that building will ultimately catch up to the lab because sort of all the head-end systems for the lab and admin, the whole campus run through admin. So that is sort of critical path for, commissioning lab as well. Advancing one slide, we started our disinfection season on May 1st. So again, we're still using chlorine for our final year, but on Friday last week, we had the first 4 the effluent channels that will bring disinfected effluent from our new UV facility to the new effluent pump station. That's in the foreground here. Started to be stripped and they're starting to form walls this week. And I think we just have a quick, again, look ahead for the remaining, or I guess the next 12 months. Digester complex and pile installation were completed in May. Both subcontractors have demobilized from the site at this point. Hopefully by the middle of the summer, we'll be energizing the first of 2 new transformers and our new switchgear to give us the flexibility to transfer all the existing loads from the current circuit to the new circuit and then kind of repeat the process for our existing circuit since 14. Over the past month, we've had the manufacturer for the primary selling tank equipment back on site for a 6-month checkout of tank 1 that went into service last November. Their report has been received and recommendations acted on, and last week we turned over tank 2 to Nickerson for demolition, so there are no longer any traveling bridges on site, and hopefully we can, hopefully we can commission that tank around the middle of summer too. We are expecting our first of 2 new turbo blowers at the end of May. That's part of the drive for the electrical work this summer. And so kind of lagging behind energizing new electrical allow us to bring those new blowers online and our first new upgraded aeration tank, sort of in a nutrient removal mode, but without the IPAS media for basically we can't put that media into service without networks. And then hopefully later this year, probably after the end of disinfection in October, we'll work toward commissioning our UV disinfection and effluent pump station just for flexibility around disinfection compliance around that time. And again, having a lab will continue, through the rest of the year and hopefully maybe a year-ish from now we can talk about into those spaces. And then I can just update on schedule and cost overall. We're effectively 2/3 complete with the project. The contractor is pretty optimistic that at least the process work can still be substantially completed by October of 2027, and hopefully punch list and restoration efforts continuing through 28. But that's all I have for today. I'll take any questions you have.
Is there any cost savings going to the UV versus chlorine?
No, I mean, the electrical demand is much higher than running like a chemical metering pump. And I think, I forget the number, we're only spending, it's something like $10,000 or $15,000 a year on chlorine, so the actual chemical use isn't that expensive. But there are other benefits to making that transition, it's not.
Environmental is huge.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good job. Okay, another interesting one, as I mentioned earlier, the Yannick tank. So Lisa's going to come up and talk about recoding and the mixing system again out there.
So if you remember, we are, the intake tank project involves repainting interior and exterior of the tank and adding an aeration and mixing system to help with our THM numbers. And we're adding a chlorine analyzer and a pH meter, just so we can always constantly check those numbers out there. We started the project in November. And the first thing we started doing was sort of November to February, we did the site work. We were also building an equipment building to house all this sort of stuff. So we started the site work in November and went through pretty much February, building the building, for the foundation, because it's just a framed up building. And then that's what it was looking like. And then we hit February and we had a little bit of an issue with snow because they couldn't really get out there. There's a sort of small site. They couldn't pilot anywhere. And the cold really shut them down for a couple of weeks, but it did not put us off schedule. And we got back in March and we finished the building. So then in March, one of the big problems, the biggest thing with the tank, as you all know, it's really tall, right? It's 197 feet tall. And so to paint it, they have to do this whole scaffolding system. If anyone drives by it, you can see the outriggers on the top. So the first thing they do is they bring in these big concrete blocks and put them all around the tank. And then they progress it. And then they weld these outriggers to the top of the tank. You can see one of them, but they put them all around the tank. And then they hang wires off the outriggers. And then the containment system is like a giant shower curtain. It just goes up and down on these wires. And we go to the next slide. And that's what it looks like, if you can see it. And they put it up and down depending on the weather, depending on what they're doing, to keep the sandblasting all inside. And that's what it looks like. So if you drive by it, sometimes you'll see it up, sometimes you might see it down. And it's really fun to look at. And then you can go to the next slide. And I did not go up the These, I did not take these pictures.
You want to stand out on that scaffolding?
I did not. I mean, these guys are a little crazy. But that's what it looks like on the top. There's this big metal thing on the top of it that all the wires don't come off of. And then the guys actually go out and they're lowered up and down the scaffolding to do the work. And the pictures are beautiful from up there. You can really see a long way. So you can jump to the next slide and you can sort of see how crazy these guys are. There's a guy like just hanging out at the bottom of the bell. And I saw this picture. I'm like, this guy's they were all strapped in. We did meet with the fire department about safety and emergency response if anything ever happens, if they're inside the tank to do, confined space energy. So the fire department is all set. And then you can see the scaffolding, they just go up and down. It's like the guys when they're doing the window washing on a skyscraper, they just go up and down the tank. So that's what they're doing in April. We drained the tank beginning of April, and that's when we brought the pump out. So there's no water in the tank now. And if you can see the picture on the right, there's a big black from the outlet hole from when they drained the tank. That was just the sediment that was in the bottom of the tank. So they had to pump that out, and that will all come off when they sandblast it. So, but it's kind of interesting picture. So they drained the tank, and now they are in the middle of painting the inside. So just yesterday, for the next one, they brought in all the sandblasting equipment 2 weeks ago, and they just finished sandblasting and priming the inside of the bell. And now they're working on the inside of the shaft. And then it's a little weather dependent because if it's raining, once they sandblast, if it's going to rain, if it's humid, they have to prime almost immediately, or else the tank will start to rust. So they do about a day of sandblasting, and then they spend the next day priming. They just keep going back. So next week they're starting the outside of the tank, and they're going to sandblast and prime that, and then they're going to coat it again. It is the same color. We did match the color of the new tank. There's no logo or signature. The logo on top, maybe things of like baseball or something, but no.
It's already been down that road once.
It is the exact same. And we did match the exact color. We had color samples out there. So looking ahead, like I said, they're sandblasting outside and inside now. They're painting. And then starting next week, the electrician is coming out to do the rough and electric inside into the building. And they are hoping to be, and then the aeration and mixing system will go in once they start doing that. And that stuff is pretty quick. Really, what's taking a long time, what took a long time was erecting the scaffolding, and then taking it down is also going to take like another month. But once they're done with the painting and sandblasting, then they can start all the stuff with the aeration and mixing system. Because there's very little room, that whole 10 of those concrete blocks. There's not a lot of room to be driving around the site. So they're waiting to get all that stuff out before they start doing some stuff. Finishing up with the electrical work. And then hopefully by the end of July, it's going to be done. And there's a little asterisk with the estimated projection completion date of July 31st because the generator had a 10-month lead time to order. So they're going to demobilize from the site, be 100% done, and they're going to come back when the generator comes in and literally just drop it. It's going to be wired, it's pads all ready for it, and then they'll be done. And then that's going to come in probably November. That's it.
No.
Any questions?
Right, yes, thank you. All right, and then that brings us to the last one, which Laura's gonna do, money. Which is looking at the financial reports that we provide to the board. She had some good ideas about how to make that more efficient, streamline it, and we'll spend more time on meeting things, so we explain the details.
Don't have any fancy presentations, and these pictures are maybe that less exciting than the last two. But what you have in front of you is a couple of examples of capture. So we periodically review the financial statements. I think that we've done 4 or 5 different iterations since I started in 2013, updating formats, streamlining the information, providing additional charts, that type of thing. So we're going to be making some changes for the July, so next fiscal year. So in the July reports, you'll see the changes. The monthly reports will still include balance sheet, P&L, cash flow, just like they have. We'll also continue to include the detailed capital reports by division. I anticipate over the next several years, those will continue to fluctuate based on what the major project is. So we'll be adding additional items in specific line items for larger projects that we want to make sure that the board is apprised of. And that'll just change over the life cycle of those projects, from one that gets budgeted to one that's designed, engineered, completed, capitalized. Some of them may be multi-year. So we'll see that over time, that change. For the cash charts. So you have 2 charts in front of you, 2 little packages. One of them has a single bar. This is the current format. So in July, you get a bar. You get July. The second one has multiple lines. This is the new format. Same information, but instead of a specific and only fiscal year look that the 1 bar 1 shows. So in the month of July, you get a single bar. This one would be the equivalent of where we are for April of this year. So the farthest right-hand bar is April of 2026. The 12 bars to its left are the last 12 months. This gives a year-over-year comparison so that you can actually see what is the trend. Are we where we were last year? How is it different? When you are starting with a fiscal year and your first piece of information is 1 bar, and then each month you're adding more, it doesn't really give you a great picture. You can't see the trend. So as we're looking at improving it and improving the look and making it a lot easier to see that information right at the top, that's why we are going to move towards this particular format compared to the format that we've had for several years.
We do this on the electric bill already.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So, you know, it gives you an idea of where you're at and where you have been, and year over year, what does it look like? Did you use more? So, so again, making it a little easier to read, less hunting for the information. And then the only question that I have for the board in regards to the package is how we want to put it together. Currently, the way we put the package together, you have your balance sheet for the department, and then each division underneath it, gas, electric, water, sewer. And then you have cash flow, and then each division, gas, electric, water, sewer. And the same thing for the statement of activities or the P&L. My question is, do we have a preference for that? Or would you like the package by division? So the entire organization, balance sheet, cash flow, and P&L for the entire organization, and then a full package for each division, gas, electric, water, sewer. So if you're looking at how is NPU doing overall, the first 3 pages are going to tell you, here's my balance sheet, here's my cash flow, and here's my statement of activities, my P&L, as opposed to rifling through multiple pages and having your balance sheet in one section, your cash flow in another section, and your statement of activities in another section. Whichever format the board prefers, we can do either way. If you're satisfied with the current format, we can keep putting the package together as it is. If you'd like it separated by division and area, we can do that also.
To me, going through this, with you guys, it's kind of nice to see trending, but I'd like to see the trending attached to the balance sheet with the other numbers as well. Follow me? When you give me my package here.
Yeah.
You know, I like that.
All of
Gas
that.
would be with gas.
Okay, so.
Electricity with electricity.
All right. So the cash charts, the supporting reports is what you'd like to see.
In the same,
In the same, like, so we'd have an NPU cash chart for the entire organization, and then the NPU balance sheet, cash flow, and P&L. And then the same thing for gas, electric, water, sewers. Okay, so packaged by division.
I think it's just easier for me to pick
Easier for
apart.
you to- Sure,
Really
absolutely.
four separate business units.
Yeah.
Figuratively, sorry.
That's one of the things we were thinking about as we were putting it together. How can we make it easier for the board to look at a specific area of operations or the entire organization as a whole, as opposed to rifling through multiple pages?
It took me a while to find it, but I found the electric. So, to the point, yes, it took me a few minutes to find it, but I found a sheet to explain the,
Explain the
for
electric
the $5 million.
energy. Yep.
So years ago, from what I understand, before I was on the board, NPU used to move money back and forth between various divisions. For whatever reason, but I mean, it was not in silos. And then there was a decision to essentially put them into silos, so electric and gas and water and sewer are all sort of their own silos.
Yes.
So I guess my question is, if we get pages that show how NPU is doing in general, does that mean anything because it ignores the silos?
So that's why we provide both looks, so that you can see the organization as a whole. Because when we report on Norwich Public Utilities, we report on all four divisions.
Yeah.
But we need to know internally, absolutely, how the financial health of each business is doing. Because that changes the impact of what we can do in regards to the electric revenue bonds. The electric revenue bonds, the electric division is going to get rated. So we need to know what the financial health of the electric division is within the department as a whole. And for water and sewer, there's all kinds of state requirements in regards to the clean water and drinking water funds. So those divisions need to also stand alone.
So Laura, just to take this to a high level, my understanding, I was more of an observer back when we were putting things on napkins and moving them around and all this sort of stuff. But the sewer is an exemption, was an exception because the city didn't chip in. We had no other source of working capital. So we had to make an exception. But to my knowledge, the desire and the direction financially is not to move money from one division to cover another. Because you think about it, let's say you're over collected in electric and you have enough money that you're, and again, this is an unusual situation, but we have some projects that were delayed and we were able to make it work. Then really though, that's the electric customer's money that you're using to prop up the gas division. I'm not saying that's happening, I'm just saying that's something that could be the case. So I think at 100,000 feet, to answer Bob's question, that's not something we're looking to do. So why, I think if I hear you correctly, that's why we want to look at those four business units very specifically, so we can get a good look into how each business unit is doing.
And we do have different customer bases, so we can keep that in mind.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So we'll see the new statements for July for next fiscal year. And if there's any additional feedback or additional information that you're looking for. And as always, if there's any detailed information or any specific, all you need to do is let us know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good job. Brings us to action item number 7. As we go for the approval of the promissory note by the sewer division to the electric division resolution. Is there a motion to approve the promissory note as discussed earlier in our presentation by Jess? Oh, Jess. Not good with names.
I don't think that.
Jess and Val, that's like the dream team for getting everything done.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Bob made the motion, seconded by Bill. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes to approve the promissory note by the sewer division to the electric division. The motion. Moving right along. Brings us to action item number 8, which is executive session. Jeff, who would you like to have stay during the executive session? Val and Jess, thank you. Who would you like to have?
I'm gonna have the senior team and Chris Riley.
Senior team of Chris Riley, perfect. Right, else? Stay cool out there.
I'm just gonna lock the meeting for you. Bye. Yeah. Good job, Kim.
Larry. I flew
He is a presence. Very, very finished up.
No, that's all.
Yeah.
Sorry. Do you wanna read this closer and I can cover, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're fine.
So we're being, is there a motion to go into executive session this afternoon? Jerry on the first, Bob on the second. Any discussions? All those in favor? Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? The motion passes. We are now in this executive session to discuss confidential trade and secret commercially valuable confidential or proprietary information not subject to inspection or public disclosure pursuant to section 1-2105 and 7-232A of the Connecticut General Statutes. This information is confidential and proprietary and is not subject to public disclosure pursuant to Public Act number 98-212 to discuss personal matters of employee and or public official pursuant to chapter 14, section 1-200, article 6A of the Connecticut General Statutes. We are now in the executive session.
Most important motion today. No, there's other,
Other, oh, that's right, it's like a business.
because I got some stuff for other. Sorry.
There is.
Oh, yeah. Just two quick things.
All right, let's go.
All right, number one, last Tuesday, I think it was last Tuesday, NPU, Eversource, and a bunch of other people with the state electrical contractors did a presentation on some of the national electrical code changes coming up. Were you aware of that? And, well, NPU was a sponsor of that.
Is it for the contractors that did it in Buffalo?
Yes.
Yeah, small training one. They didn't ask us until like 2 days ago. We sponsored the past week for a $200 sponsor. It provides education and training for early.
Did they offer any PowerPoints or anything to you?
I haven't seen anything.
Can you
I didn't.
dig in for that? Because that's relevant for me. And the other one's easy. For standard reconnect to reinstate service after it's been out for 60 days. Do we have a standard form for that?
Or disconnect, reconnect,
Yes,
to form.
well, form or what information is required. I did an inspection and, I marked the panel number, I marked the address and. Kinda got-
Because it's because you had, yes.
Oh, you heard of
No.
it?
First, Shalene can answer this off the top of her head, but she's not here.
Let's see. Have you been for 60 days?
Yeah, but basically what it, yeah,
6 months.
it's not a permit, it's basically a letter from a licensed electrical contractor saying that he performed an inspection, which is what I did. I pulled the panic over, I looked inside.
I'll get you the.
That flows, to Mary's point, that flows through the building
Correct,
department.
building department.
Mine got kicked back because of, I didn't put the meter number,
Yeah.
you know, which is my fault. But if we had a standard level form with all the information on it, this stuff wouldn't happen.
But I think that should come from the building department.
Yeah.
But we work with Deanna, so we can.
They clear.
Okay.
Well, I think that's it's just,
That's fine.
just.
We got it.
I'm sorry, I kept you guys 2 minutes to, all right.
No worries.
Emailed in when I get back to my desk.
Thanks. Yeah, if they got a PowerPoint for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be perfect.
Under new business, Laura, what does the red asterisk mean next to secondary?
It's a new form, it might be a
It
requirement.
means it's a requirement, but then I have to ask you, what is my secondary contact name?
Oh, so,
Your wife.
no, so if you were a business, we would require two contacts. So if you were actually a business, we have one contact and private contact. So for example, working with Nickerson, well, we have a significant limit every month. We have two contacts. So if we get somebody saying, yeah, I'd like to check with Nickerson banking information, we Nancy would reach out to the council, we have one file, and we go through your security checklist, so let's make sure we get. Three times.
Really?
Gotta shut down that offshore account.
Yes, exactly.
I know, it's like, just one concern, this adverse.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Jerry? Listen, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any extensions? One.
Thank you.
Freeport Brand, did you know a guy there named, by the name of Peter Zaccardelli?
Right now.
That's my old boss, he went to work there and closed the place, I guess.
I probably know, I just don't remember. the
Let me
name.
see, I get a terrible